you don't really spend a lot of time in the book talking about being Iranian or an Iranian American. Is that purposely, or is that something that just you noticed?
I regret it. I actually regret that. If I could go back, which I'm not going to, the publishers and the editor would kill me right now. But I think if I was going to do it again, I would have spent more time on that. I think I purposely passed over it. And this is a theme in the book. I think I've had other test readers tell me this, and I definitely know you did, because that was when you helped me refine some of the writing and the chapters and the thoughts that were in the book. Your biggest comments constantly were, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. And I didn't want to make a book of stories. A lot of people write stories. A lot of people write stories about alcoholism or addiction and, you know, overcoming these things and whatever. A lot of people do this thing. I really thought if I put too much stories, too much detail, too much Iranian theme, too much of any one theme, I would take away with why I wrote the book, and that was the message. I had a very clear intent with the message that I wanted, and I thought too many stories, too much of that would then turn it into just a book of somebody who has stories to tell, and the message get lost. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And you say that the message to you was very important, and you don't like the designation of books that are memoirs, and you didn't want this book to be called a memoir. And I remember you and I talking about that. Yep. Why is that?
Again, I think it's the designation, because from everything that I've learned and see that are in memoirs, I think of memoirs of like somebody famous or somebody that's like incredibly accomplished, then going back and telling their story of you know, and I know it's not a biography, but I think of it like a memoir in terms of like a biography, and somebody going and telling stories of accomplishments and describing how they got through these things. I think of myself as a fairly ordinary guy, and the memoir to me makes it seem, when I think about a memoir, I think I'm not worthy of a memoir. And then I also want, I almost want it to be in a self, like, I have a really hard time trying to put that in a category where I also want it to feel like it's a deeper message, a story. It's kind of like I want to talk about a message and some deeper thoughts, except I have to use stories to take the reader into where some of my challenges were, and that'll make my message better and be able to, you know, to shine more light on the message. And I have to use stories to do it, rather than thinking a book of just telling all these crazy stories, because I have more stories I can tell.
Right.
So the whole Iranian thing could be literally an entire book on itself, as you know. Coming into the late 70s, early 80s into the United States from Iran was not an easy time, because obviously we had the hostage crisis going on, and there were so many reasons that you did not want to be Iranian. And I could write a book based